Hi, in this video I'll show you how to make a somewhat easy version of the Italian Easter bread called Colomba di Pasqua or Easter dove. The traditional version is made with this type of sourdough starter called lievito madre, but since most people won't have that, I'll make it with fresh yeast instead. If this video gets any traction at all, considering the sad state of my channel, next year I'll bake another one in a more traditional way. I'm gonna start by making a flavoring paste, and for that I'm weighing salt, sugar, unsalted butter, and then grating an orange. After grating the orange, I'll reserve this mixture and begin weighing my egg yolks, which I'll keep to the side. Now, into a large bowl, I'm adding strong white flour, vanilla, malt extract, cold egg yolks, and cold milk. In goes some fresh yeast. I begin to mix it all with a fork and then with my hands. Without adding any flour on my surface, I'll knead this dough a little. This dough is rather stiff and has a similar feel to pasta dough. When it's a little smooth, I'll place it in a bowl and let it ferment for about 1 hour inside the oven with the light on. When the time is almost up, the butter will have softened, so I'll mix it into a paste with the salt, sugar, and zest. Now I take the dough out of the oven, place it on the counter, degas it, and add half of the butter paste. This technique can be seen in more details in my hot cross buns as well as my whole wheat sourdough sandwich bread videos. Links in the description. The dough goes back into the bowl and then the oven for another hour or so. After that, I remove it and add the second half of the butter paste. Window pane achieved. Back to the oven while I chop my orange peel. There's a link in the description for this recipe as well. The dough rose again, so I'll assert my dominance over it by poking it. Now I'll add my fruit, roll it like a carpet, chop the dough to pieces, and bring it all back together. It goes to the fridge now for 8 to 24 hours. After coming out, I'll leave it in the oven again for a few hours to acclimatize. This bread is typically baked in dove-shaped paper molds such as these. I'm inserting 2 bamboo skewers into the body of the doves, which will come handy after they're baked. The dough is still a little bit cold, but I'll start to shape it. I'll weigh the whole mass and divide it by 2 because my molds are 500 grams each, but if you're using a 1 kilogram mold, you don't have to do this. I'll flatten each ball into a rectangle and cover with a cloth for about 5 minutes. Now I cut about 1/4 of each dough rectangle. Then I roll the biggest piece into a cylinder and do the same with the smaller ones, which I then cut into 2. I now take 1 paper mold, place the biggest piece for the body, the smallest one for the wings, and start to press it down really well. I now place both in the baking tray, cover with a cloth, and place them in the oven for the final fermentation. When the doves are fermented enough, I'll take them out of the oven and start to heat it up. As that's happening, I'll make the glaze that goes on top. Into a bowl, I'll add cornstarch, coarse sugar, and almond flour, and then mix it up with a spoon really well. Now it's time for the egg whites. I just mix to combine. And now I'll spoon the glaze over the doves, being careful not to deflate them. And then I add pearl sugar, which I made in another video, link for which is in the description, and some whole almonds, which I didn't make. They are baked in a very low oven until done. When they are done, I'm using the bamboo skewers to place them upside down to let them cool completely. I like to place a cloth over them to prevent too much moisture from escaping. After a couple of hours, they're cold, so I'll remove the skewers. This is how they both look. I'm sure your Colomba are going to look much better because the oven I'm using isn't the greatest, so the browning is uneven. It truly is like what I imagine eating a cloud would be, only with less electricity involved. Being a homemade item with no preservatives or emulsifiers, this bread should be eaten as soon as possible, but you can freeze it to preserve its freshness. But anyway, that's all for now. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.